is 6 feet tall. So when we push him in there, he can see the relationship of the hand wheels and the control valves. So he knows, based on this man's height right here, that these are not really that high. And it gives him a good graphics view of the area into that location. If I go to a different location, let's take another one. You can see here, let me just see if I can get this. You can see a little tin man there in the distance. No. All I've done there is cut. What I'm doing is I'm using a cut command, which just cuts it through the pipe rack. But you can see here, this valving right here is I can actually snap to it. This is a 30-inch piping. It tells me right here it's 30-inch piping, and you can see these hand wheels are too big, and he can't actually reach some of this equipment. I think we've got it. So I can get it down more. You can see it gives a better view right here. Some of these hand wheels are too big, you can't reach these, and that's when a client will make a comment, say add a chain operator on this, or I think in some of the cases he may say add a platform, but the platform may hinder it. He'll decide that he doesn't need to get to that valve very often and might be quite happy with just adding a chain operator on it, which is what he did in this case here. Let me see if I can find you. Let me just show you some of the tagging right here. Tools, view, tags, display, active only. Here you can see number 2. Let me just move this out of the way. You can see here, it says tag number 2. You got tag number 2 right here, and this is a comment that clients will make. Here is saying rotate back flush valve 45 degrees out of access way. We had this valve out straight. Let me see if I can zoom a little closer. We had this hand wheel right, it was sticking out this way. He felt it was going to hinder access, so he wanted us to rotate it around. And that was a comment the client made. And after he approves the change, we'll write the word resolved on here, and we'll run reports on it. This is comment number 3. General comments to have containment on the modules. That was something we couldn't really show on here, but it was resolved. And you can see here we say resolved on this, but it was basically resolved by other means other than the model. Give you an example on a model this size right here. I think we had 179 comments is what we have. So this is over 3 model reviews, the 3060, but client made 179 comments. Some of them we didn't agree with, some of them we did. But it takes a lot of coordination. I mean, the models are so easy for them to see, review. It's easy for them to make comments. Here you can say we had this is actually a connection for a future phase of a project, and he said add bollards for protection of underground. This is in Canada, Fort McMurray, so this may be covered in snow. Somebody could easily back into a truck on this, So he wanted safety bollards here just to stop somebody from doing that. So that was a requirement we had on this case.
How do you usually handle a comment from the client that we do not agree with? That
usually conference call, and a lot of it is interpretation of the requirements for a project. Say, for example, the size, or if they need a platform or not. It doesn't matter what the client says, we'll always put a comment on there. But then we'll have meetings and discuss the comments afterwards, and we'll come to an agreement as to what our scope of work is.
So during the meetings, typically just gathering whatever.
Right. But we'll bring our experts in, whether it's piping, structural, to explain why we did what we did. If the client doesn't like our explanation, then we'll make a model review comment, and that will basically determine how we proceed from that point right there. Just because we make a comment doesn't mean we agree with it. Sometimes we'll say we'll do it if you pay us for it, and that happens a lot. I don't know if I can find something. Result add check valve. Let me see what it says. Just roll off. Okay, stop. This is one that we never did. It says resolve per Edward. Here's our client. Here's what that was approving us. Here they say rework cable trays to suit motor junction box location. What we wanted is to split these cable trays. These motors are saying we want a set of cable trays here and a set of cable trays over here. Well, we show the cable trays, but we don't show the cables going from here into the junction box. They had concerns on how we're going to route it this way over here, and they wanted to show it in a model. We refused to do it. We said, well, we don't want to do it. It's not part of our scope of work. So we ended up showing a standard sketch of how we were proposing to do it, and it eventually got over here. They actually wanted to route cable trays over here and put some additional steel on it, but we thought the client was asking too much. So we didn't. In that case, we did not agree with it. Let me show you this building whilst I'm here. This is a filter building that we show. And what we can do is obviously there's a lot of components in this building, but you can't see it. I can just snap to it. It's telling me the building number down the bottom down here, and this program allows me just to go to that file. So if I go to this 52R1 building, this is a list of all the files down here, and I can see my building right here. It's got a little check mark on it. I can just click it off and it goes away, and that allows us to review the contents of the building. Oops, right here. And so we can review it, go around it. I can bring my man in. Maybe not. I can bring our man in, let him have a look at it. Client may be concerned on access underneath this filter, so we can take him underneath here. We can let me just show you this. We have a cut plane on this, so we can cut out all the background. We also have the foreground. We can just cut in a little section if he wants to look at a control valve. Yeah, I can snap to it. When I highlight it like this, it tells them what the control valve is right here. He can look at access and orientation of the hand wheels. Doesn't like it, he'll make a comment on it. This is showing the filter, the davits on the filter. Client will look at a lot of the things he will look at will be the major equipment, usually the vessels and stuff like this, the tall towers. He'll get us to look at them. He'll ask us to walk up them, and that way he allows him to look at maintenance. We do the lights. He wants to make sure the platform is lit okay. He'll want a light by the manway in case we do work at night time. He'll want to make sure our access requirements are correct. He'll look at this. This is a level transmitter. This is a level gauge. He'll make sure he can get access to it from this ladder. He'll make sure that we don't have instruments blocking the ladders. He'll look at access to the manways. He'll ask us to walk each and every one. He'll look at this utility station, make sure he likes the location of his utility station so it doesn't block access to ladders. This takes days to go through all this. It doesn't happen in 5 minutes. You can see we're showing some of the junction boxes locations right here. We're showing the davit access. If he has concerns on the davit, he'll ask us to look at it from a plan point of view. And he'll ask us to set the cut all the way to the bottom. So he'll look at the davits, he'll look at the pick point, he'll look at the manways, picking up here, and he'll look at the drop zone down here. He'll review all this and he'll approve it or he'll comment on it. He'll be concerned about the access underneath the pipe rack. He'll ask for a certain cut. He won't want to see it so deep like this at first. He'll ask us just to maybe start at one end. Then he'll just ask us to go down, just walk down. We can just do this and we can just walk down the pipe rack, and he's just looking for obstructions. He may be concerned about how far this sticks out. If he's going to bring equipment down here, he wants us to go down this pipe rack, and he's just looking to anything which may be a problem. You see some manifolds there, underground piping. We're well clear. He'll look at all this lighting we have in here to make sure he's happy with the light location. The thing he looks at lights is he likes lights at the bottom of the ladders. He likes by doors, by major pieces of equipment. He'll make sure we have lights in those locations. He'll have a tendency to make us walk underneath the pipe racks. And then after we've done that, he'll ask us to show him the whole pipe rack, which is a common thing for him to do. He'll take it to one end and he'll go there, and we'll show him the whole pipe rack. But this is a consortium of all disciplines putting their effort together to create these files. Here, he'll look at some of the structures, access to these are reed boilers from the tower right here. He'll look at the platforming and access to some of the components on it. Let's look at some pumps. It's not a good example. Does anybody have any comments or questions on what the client review? But this is our main focus on the project: getting the operators, maintenance, safety people to review this and comment on the access, the safety requirements on it.
Is it possible that even after the isometric drawings are issued and goes to the field construction, he comes back and it's still slightly different?
No. This is what the ISOs are extracted from this models. The ISOs are extracted from a PDS, and this is built by the PDS.
So then when it comes to the field and they do the construction, they follow it exactly how
Right, it's exactly the same. So all the drawings are extracted from these computer files. I'm not saying there's not a fabrication error. There are construction tolerances, but they are all extracted and issued from the same file. Well, if there's no more comments, we can go home.